No, they're all AI. ChatGPT is taking over.
Please no.
You just get in the plane and you type where you want to go, and it just does it all for you.
It's just done.
Hold on.
No, what it really does is it ports it over to Microsoft Flight Simulator, and some 13-year-old kid flies you to your destination.
Yes.
They found out how to get cheap pilots.
Man. Hey, this is Doug. It's my first flight, everybody. So hold on.
Let's do a barrel roll.
Hey, everybody, it's Bobby. We'll be taking off in a few minutes. Mom said I had to take out the trash before I keep playing my game, so I'll be back.
Yeah. I'll be back really soon, guys. Hey, don't worry. I'm good at this. I'm the best. I'm also Twitch streaming this in case something bad happens.
Seat 24B, thanks for the like and the follow.
Yep. Thanks for the like. We really appreciate that. Thanks for the donation over in seat 4C.
That's right.
Must be first class. You know you're first class if you're riding with me.
It gives you all the more reason to sub, though. You're like, I want this guy to stay online all the longer, because when he checks offline, like, this is just going down.
Could you imagine just being on the plane, like, can I get off this roller coaster, please? I'm out.
Bit of a rough landing. Sir, we are missing half of the plane.
Oh. Anyways,
little turn.
We're kind of
John Strand will maybe arrive if we summon him. Everyone say your favorite John
if you
Strand
believe.
quote. If you believe in John Strand, say your favorite John Strand quote in the chat.
Yeah.
He's busy restarting 3 times.
Yes. Say in
Southwest
chat,
tried that. It did not work.
Yeah. They got grounded too. What do we call it? Say your favorite John Strand thing.
Report as you go. That's pretty good.
That's good.
Don't forget the best John Strand quote. 7 character passwords are totally sufficient.
They are absolutely. That actually, he said that 3 times.
Yeah. You can also
Totally
just use the
that.
quote cocaine, and technically he did say that.
Did
Out
he?
of context, but he did say it multiple times.
I don't know if I'd count that as a quote, unless he said it a lot.
No, you just
he
take
has.
everything out of context and just
Oh,
make
he
it look
has.
really small.
That's pretty much all of his intro classes, and I took those multiple times. Like, it comes up 2 or 3 times per intro class.
Yes.
Various cocaine jokes.
We're not going to talk about ransomware today, and then we proceed to just talk about ransomware. That is correct.
Of course.
Actually, I will say, though, we haven't talked about ransomware in a little while. So, like, I don't know if that's like a...
Dude, a little while? Rackspace was like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, God. I forgot. It seemed so long.
We try to block.
It was last year already.
No,
that's right.
No. Rackspace was not ransomware. It was a security incident, and they're investigating it.
They're investigating. 2 months later, they're like, we're still investigating. Let us know if you guys find anything. Also, I know that my webcam is extremely noisy, but I kind of like it, actually. It makes me feel like I'm in a VHS tape.
You are a VHS tape. Old and ready.
It's not that my webcam's bad. I got the Stranger Things filter on. It's great.
I got the Stranger
I know.
Things filter.
It was cheaper than I thought, you know.
Anyone order a bucket of KFC chicken?
No.
No?
Yeah, I've got one right here. How did you know?
That was a long shot. I was just hoping someone had a bucket of KFC chicken with them.
Just could you imagine just like typing with a bucket of KFC chicken, just like grease everywhere? just I mean, like just destroying your
All
keyboard.
right, so John had called me, and he says his computer is not connecting for reasons unknown. But he says let's go ahead without him.
All right.
Aww.
Nation state.
Ian, would you like to take the con?
I think we should stand with John and his poor internet connection and wait for him. We'll just sit here and wait.
Just everyone on the internet wait for one person.
That's right.
What did you ask me, Ryan? What?
Do you want to take the con after the the finger video?
If you'd like.
Oh, it sounds creepy.
Wow,
we're gonna roll.
Wow, let's make
We
it
wanna
sure.
start.
Go ahead, Ian.
Con? What
I'm
does that
heading
even
into my
mean? Is that a
40s,
Star Wars
so-
reference or
It's
something?
a Star Trek reference, but
Take the controls,
what are you
man.
talking about?
It's gonna be the host. Get with it, Corey. Come
Ryan,
on.
how
All right, we're gonna go.
hard
We're
are
gonna
you
go.
tripping right now?
Hello, everybody. It is Monday, January 9th. I'm Ian Meyer, and this is Black Hills Information Security Talking About News. And we have got a wonderful cavalcade of commenters and rabble-rousers and whatnot with us today. We've got Ryan, always making us look good and sound good. Noah Monopixel over here. We got Mike Shecky. We got Ralph May, Bronwyn, myself, and, of course, the illustrious, spirited Corey. How's everybody?
Good. How are you?
Doing good.
Good.
Doing very well, very well. And Ryan, before we get too far into it, I think it's probably a good time to remind people about the most offensive con that's ever going to offensive. Could you bring up that page? I should have mentioned
Double offensive bit.
Double offensive.
Oh,
So if
man.
you're looking to be the most offensive that ever offensive, Antisyphon's got an online con coming up for you. So
I did not have that link ready.
that's
Oh
okay.
my God, Ryan!
It's okay.
One job.
You
We
got-
talked
you
about
got-
this 3
you got-
times.
No. I said he's going to make us look good. Not that.
Right.
Anyway.
Not making
Yes,
yourself look
yeah,
good.
yeah. He
Exactly.
focuses on
I
us
understand.
looking good. Him himself.
He didn't have it ready because it was redacted for being too offensive.
It was.
Oh,
too
that was it.
offensive.
Yeah,
He
we're
had
trying to
it
make
redacted.
sure that
There
the
you
webcast
go.
can get done.
There's
anywhere
so
that
much
needs to be.
black Sharpie on this slick slide website. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like a
I'm
full
gonna-
request has happened all over this website. But yeah,
It
no,
looks
check out-
like a
Here's your link.
slip and slide of Sharpie.
there we go.
It's like a
2023, the
CIA
most
document.
offensive summit.
Can't read.
I think I'm
Ever.
actually emceeing this con, as far as I know. So I
How
apologize to all
did
the
that
attendees.
happen? Oh, geez.
I hope that's a reason not to attend, but I will be offensive. I
Wait,
guarantee
No,
you.
that is why it's offensive, because you are emceeing.
If
You're like-
anyone comes into the chat and starts talking about how instant coffee is delicious. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's just John.
For those
So yeah,
who don't know.
definitely check out the chat there for Antisyphon's 2023 most offensive summit for more details, and also I think an upcoming CFP if you're interested in talking. So, but that's not what we're here to talk about. That's just the paying the bills because we're bad at capitalism. As
That didn't get
seen.
ransomwared. That didn't
Yeah,
get
that did
ransomwared,
not.
so we
No,
can't talk
no.
about it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do we want to talk about ransomware first? Is that where we're
We
going?
don't even have ransom. No one got
The
ransom.
first
No one got
category, the
ransomware.
first category is hot topics, which I assume is like the store you went to when you were in high school and like
Yeah, it's
got all
nothing
those
but
pants.
vinyl chokers and fishing.
Yeah,
and
like the
stuff.
straps that pants the straps together, so like in
Yeah.
case you're like, it's like this. It prevents you from doing the splits. I guess is that the
It
function
actually
of it? I
prevents
don't
you
really
from
know.
being
I think so.
cool or just doing anything.
And
So
Maxwell's
somehow there's
for-
more ChatGPT. Do you guys want to still talk about
Yeah, let's
ChatGPT?
talk about
Uh,
AI first.
what
But
even-
let's first thanks Maxwell out there. Thank you. Already registered and rearmbused by the bosses. Thank you, bosses.
Wow.
This
like
guy
that.
cons.
This
Those
guy
folks
cons.
are better at capitalism than we are. That's fantastic. All
Wait,
right.
y'all get reimbursed by your boss?
No,
Y'all are getting paid.
I don't even get paid.
So this article on Ars Technica is just ChatGPT is enabling script kiddies to write functional malware.
I mean, but so was Source Overflow or
I was
Stack
about to
Overflow.
say, yeah.
No,
I've
no. This is
confirmed
easier
this.
though, guys. Come on, let's put it.
I really, I know this is like the viral topic right now, but like, can't you just buy like malware? Like, why?
You totally could.
If you're a script kiddie, why
Really
even
an
bother using ChatGPT? That seems like an extra step. Can you just get it for free? Like, I don't even.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know.
I think
maybe.
Gardner.
Oh no, I was just gonna say maybe we should start instead of doing like a Google search or whatever search engine you use, just use ChatGPT to ask those questions. Let's just see. Maybe it is better than we think.
Oh, one of mine.
Like on the news, we can just ask ChatGPT, like, "Hey, is this significant? Should this be something we should look into?"
I guess this falls into the category of slightly interesting because quote unquote real hackers are doing it, but like they're just messing around. These are just breach forums posts that are like, hey, I'm doing a thing. Like if you make news articles every time someone comments on these forums, you're gonna have a lot of news articles that are like, hey guys, I just hacked into the FBI and stole all the credit cards. Here they are for sale for totally legit $5. Don't worry about it. Like it's this. I don't know. This doesn't seem super newsworthy to me. It is against the terms of service, but of course, if you just ask it to do specific subtasks, like, oh, go write me an encryption capable web server or something like that, it's not going to know that it's part of a malware. So I guess the most interesting thing for me is if you were the author of this, if you're the author of ChatGPT or the publisher, do you try to prevent people from using it for malware? Are you trying, like, I know it's against the terms of service, but like, do you care?
I don't know that you can.
Only if someone threatens to sue me.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Someone threatens to sue you.
Someone
Right.
threatens to sue me. It's like, no, we totally tried to stop this.
Against our terms and conditions. See right here? Yeah, we do things to prevent this. Like if you ask us to write malware, we don't do it.
We turned on the AI to look for people asking the AI for malware. That's how
And then
That's what YouTube does. That they're like
Right.
content moderation. We have that probably. Let's check the code. Yeah, it's running. It should be
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask ChatGPT if it's against the law for it to make malware.
that's right. No, it's
John's here.
Hey, it's John.
He made it.
Hey.
Turns out all I had to do was turn off my computer and turn it on again.
3 times.
start
That's the
your
rule.
dial-up
Southwest
connection.
tried that. Did not.
Yep,
work.
didn't work. Didn't work. And we
So
lost
John,
a lot of pilots out there.
come in with
Hey.
a hot take on: do you think ChatGPT should prevent users from using it to create malware more aggressively than just putting it in their terms and conditions?
I don't know. I'm just waiting for a lot of defenders in the community to get all pissy because we're moving away from open source tools that are on GitHub. And then they're going to start complaining and be like, oh, geez, it's all these chat GPT malware. I don't care. I don't think it matters because malware is going to malware and we're going to have malware. And whether it's chat GPT or open source tools or malware that's created by, Eastern European mafia, it's just something that we're going to have. So I'm all for it. I think it should create more malware. I think it should create lots of malware. So we've got this conference coming up, the most offensive con that ever offensive. And kind of one of the things I want to do is bring it back, the pendulum from the blue side back to the red team side. We need to be more offensive in the community. And if your AV can be bypassed by something that's generated by ChatGPT, maybe just throwing this out there, that maybe your antivirus sucks.
Well, but it's using machine learning and AI also, so you don't understand. It's just a war between two AIs.
Oh man!
Can you
these
ask
two
ChatGPT
AIs
to run
and
trials?
all I'm thinking of is Chat GPT, other AI, and it's like, well, that's just your opinion, man. Like the two AIs arguing with each other.
This is malware. Well, that's just your opinion, man.
It's just like one person's malware is just a management solution to somebody else.
Do you guys think it's funny though when you do log into Chat GPT, it asks you if you're a robot or not? I'm like, no, I'm trying to get to the robots.
Hey, Chat GPT, how do I log into CAPTCHAs? Bypass CAPTCHAs for me. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't
It's a
know.
real thing.
I don't think this is a great.
I find it weird. Like I was playing with it. I don't know if I'm going to do this tomorrow or not, but I had it create a script where I could input a whole bunch of different security words. I did like 200 words. And then it would automatically submit each one of those words with what is, and then that security topic. And then ChatGPT gave me the results back, and I dropped all those results back to a file, one for each topic, right? What I'm trying to do is get ChatGPT to create an InfoSec wiki for me, so I don't have to do any work. So I'm doing this now, and I'm close. But one of the problems, its code is broken.
It's not accurate. Yeah, it's not very accurate.
And it does weird stuff with variables, right? It's just very strange. So I find it weird that I'm trying to get it to do something very basic like that, and it's just shitting the bed. But if somebody shows up, they're like, could you write malware to bypass CrowdStrike? It's like, here you go. I don't know. Like, I guess it's got its priorities.
Yeah, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, it's a beta and it acts very beta. It's not very accurate with facts. It would be funny to like do it for security and like pick out the inaccuracies and be like, this is why this is a case study in why your EDR that also uses AI can be bypassed. Like this is why.
But I also look at it like this: if this is a beta and it's being released to the public, we're screwed. This is where it's starting. It's a very good start.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that like I've heard, and this just makes me so like, it's so dystopian, is like basically people are using these kinds of solutions, but they're still making the people that used to be doing the thing that the AI replaces, like double check it, but they're getting paid less to double check it. It's like, hey, we used an AI to translate this or to, write this. Can you double check it for half your normal wage? And by the way,
that's so like a gangster movie where they take you out in the middle of the woods and hand you a shovel and they're like, start digging. Why? Why would I
No
want
reason.
to start digging? You know, it's like, yeah, it's like here's the tool to your demise. Can you double check it and make sure it's working properly? It's just
there's a couple.
And the
errors.
worst
You need to
part is
break
the
those out.
AI was trained on their work in the
I
first
know,
place.
right?
It's like we learned how to dig a grave from you. Now do one.
now,
and we're
now
gonna-
we need you to dig it to make sure. Well, we're gonna make sure that this grave is dug right. We're gonna have it dig it, and then we're gonna have you verify it as well.
verify it, please.
It's really dark because I saw a picture of some group of people that just dug their own grave, and the only thing I can think of, and like kind of gallows humor, is like, why? like that way you're gonna die tired.
That was the one thing that somebody else was going to get to do for you.
No,
that
but
was
see, there could be Deus Ex Machina. You always delay your villains, right? Like this is what we've learned from movies.
That's
there
true,
could be
'cause maybe
like
they'll
Deus
monologue and
Ex.
all of a sudden there'll be a way out of it. So.
Yeah, there'll be a jump cut to some guy driving through the woods in a truck. He hits the villain. You know how it works.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So no, I've been having fun with ChatGPT. I was like looking at one of my son's papers. He wrote this paper and he sent it to me, and I'm like, this is fantastic. And I'm pretty sure that you used AI to generate it. So what I did to kind of check him on it, he was going through and changing words and doing all that stuff, and probably spent more time changing his paper than he would have spent just writing his paper. But it was very interesting for me as a former professor. Like if I was a professor, how would I find out if something was written by ChatGPT? And I guess there was somebody that wrote a tool that actually does that type of check, because it blows through all the plagiarism chat tests. It does a great job. They're just going right through those. So,
Yeah.
pretty crazy stuff.
So I saw there was also a student wrote a tool that detects if ChatGPT was used, or at least attempts to. So like students are like, no, you can't replace us. We can write B grade papers better than anyone.
Yeah. I don't know. I read so many horrible papers as a college professor for Regis, Colorado Technical University, and God, there was another one. I can't remember. Oh, Dakota. Crap, I can't remember. Denver
Ask
University.
ChatGPT, it remembers.
And I got to be honest, I wouldn't even be that mad. Like if I was a professor and someone was doing this, because if I had a choice of reading someone's really horrible paper and something that's pretty mediocre written by ChatGPT, I'd take that any day of the week because they were just bad.
I don't get paid enough to find if this is plagiarized.
Well, I had one student who submitted a paper, and I started going through it, and I'm like, this is really poorly written. Oh my God, this is awful. Wait, this seems familiar. Holy crap, this is a paper that I wrote on a piece of malware. Like literally he heard me talking about a piece of malware in class, and then he went and found a paper on that malware, plagiarized it, submitted it, and it was my paper that he submitted to me.
You were hating on your own paper and then realized
I was hating on my own paper.
You're like, who
Yeah,
wrote this? Some idiot. Oh God, it was me.
my
This is
God.
written by a third grader.
So bad. Part of me was like, oh, that's awesome. Now I can call attention to the fact that he plagiarized, and that was much better conversation to have.
So it's early on in the year. Should we talk about like predictions? Because there's an article in here that's like
this article for predictions didn't suck. It was actually
okay. I wasn't. It was gonna go either way. I was gonna say.
What's the article about predictions here? What was
Cybersecurity experts gaze into the 2023 crystal ball and see good, bad, and ugly.
One of them was talking about insurance and how
I hate
insurance
that.
is not going to be the stopgap that you think that companies think it is.
Yeah.
And I really, really, really think that that's absolutely super solid advice. Like if your whole entire Infosec policy is based on, well, insurance will pay, you're about to have a bad year.
So what John's talking about is it basically says one of the predictions is, and he cites his sources, or I guess is it like a group article? I don't really.
No, it's just a quote from a bunch of Infosec luminaries.
Oh, okay. So someone says that there will be declining insurance assurance.
I can't keep it. We got lots of breaches to talk about today too. I can kind of go down the list, but keep going with this, and we'll talk about those.
Oh, we can move to the breaches, but this is actually pretty hard.
There's basically, I think the takeaway for everyone is to take a look at this article and maybe cross-reference it with what you think might happen in 2023. There are some, artificial but irresistible. I guess it's like talking about ChatGPT.
Yeah, put your predictions in chat.
Put your predictions for 2023 in chat.
ChatGPT will become sentient. build a
Yeah.
robot body and take over the world. That's
So
Yeah.
That's a little bit later on in the article. Yeah.
You
No,
mentioned
yeah.
breaches. You mentioned breaches, Ralph. So this is one of the predictions is data breach data decline. And this
Decline.
is COO of Identity Theft Resource Center, James E. Lee. Totally not a racist. Sorry. The number of data breaches that reveal less information about a compromise will continue to grow, putting more people and businesses at risk. Okay.
See,
2 years ago.
That's the type of generic crappy prediction.
Yeah.
Isn't that the opposite of what he said? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty crazy.
He says more data breaches, but they reveal less information.
No, I think what he's saying is actually the companies are going to reveal less information about what was breached.
Alex C. just said John Strand will talk more about ransomware than he wants to talk about ransomware.
We've already done that.
true.
Yeah, that's actually a very
Alex
accurate
is like an
prediction.
infosec Nostradamus.
So, speaking of breaches, I'll go. We can talk
Go for
about we can talk about more in depth on any one of these, but we got Slack. Their private GitHub was repository stolen over the holidays. I'm not exactly sure what was in there, but your chat is out there. At least the software for that. Five Guys, their HR data got stolen from people who applied to work at Five Guys, so some PII. Chick-fil-A also got compromised, and people are stealing Chick-fil-A points and gift cards. I guess it's the hot new thing. So
if I can get a free
Let's talk about
milkshake,
that
I
one.
mean,
let's jump into Chick-fil-A because I
Yeah.
want to talk for the next 5 minutes about how Chick-fil-A is delicious. But what a horrible.
this is probably not a breach. Does anyone want to put money on this not actually being a breach?
We don't know if it's a breach, but according to Bleeping Computer, this was actually before Christmas. User accounts being breached and credential stuffing attack. This one was specifically to the credential stuffing, but they actually shut down the ability to make new accounts, and people were reselling these accounts in Chick-fil-A points and rewards and other stuff like that.
Reselling the points.
Yes, but additionally, Chick-fil-A was investigating suspicious activity on some customer accounts, but they are committed to customer data privacy and working quickly to resolve the issue.
So Senya Peacock says insider threat. I'm calling it. I disagree. I think that this. I don't know. I could be wrong, but it was the cows. The cows did.
It was the cow.
Cows.
Why did we not think of that one?
Why would the cows do that? That actually would be hurting that would be hurting it because it would prevent the selling of more chickens. So
Yeah.
Oh, so you think of the chickens? You think
No, you're thinking about
it would,
the
it would have to be
I
the
think-
chickens. It would
Yeah, it would have
have
to be the
not
chickens.
But yeah, digital in area says like credential stuffing, and that's what I think it is. And the reason why is, for those of you that do testing and offensive stuff, very rarely do customers allow us to go after their customers, right? They want us to do a web app security assessment. And we're like, how about we do a password spray against all the users? And they're like, oh, no. Justifiably. I understand why they're saying don't do that. But it's this dark area that, we're not allowed to look into during pen tests because they don't want us to hit that customer data. And I think that this article, it really shows that this is a blind spot for a number of different companies. Because I guarantee you it's not just Chick-fil-A.
So it looks like, okay, so from reading this article a little bit high level, it looks like what's happening is that typically with the credential stuff on some forum, maybe you can make a post. But with credential stuffing at Chick-fil-A, I guess you can use to spend the balance and get some sweet chicken out of the deal, or sell those accounts to other people. So they found a way to monetize it, I think, and that's what. Then people are like, "What? You can make money by credential stuffing Chick-fil-A easily?" I'm in, And so
Yeah, this is like I would speculate that this is like virality of threat actors being like, first of all, someone probably developed a tool that checks whether Chick-fil-A accounts are valid, and then they posted it, and then everyone's like, oh, I'll give it a shot with my database that I have, because everyone has a database of breached credentials. And then they started getting hits, and they were like, what do we do with all this? And then they realized you can get a milkshake or whatever, so they're like,
I can
now
sell
it's worth my time.
Yeah, I got
And then it
$200 from
becomes a
Chick-fil-A
trend.
points. Woo!
That's delicious.
I'm in. That's
I mean, yeah, I don't know how this works, but this is a great example of like, if you are a company setting up one of these types of, if you're a company setting up one of these types of systems, don't just have it like be like, oh, you can choose any password. Like honestly, do no passwords and just email people one-time codes. Like just stop with the passwords.
It would be easier, better.
Yeah.
Use auth0 or something like that. But so
yes, for sure.
One of the things.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say one of the things that I find interesting about a lot of these apps, and because I've dealt with it in retail food organizations, people think, oh, well, we're not dealing with PCI data, we're not dealing with credit cards. It's just points. It's just this. Companies need to treat that as actual currency because on the books they have to track it. They're liable for it. They have to track it from an accounting perspective. They have to track it from everything. But the security team kind of gets blown off. Because they're like, no, it's just points.
It's not a priority.
It doesn't turn into anything, this, that, and the other. Or they'll say the risk is too low because the app is limited to whatever. But when you start going at scale, and you've got people that can just come up to a drive-thru and go like, yeah, scan this barcode, free chicken, yay! Then it becomes just like the whole scam with college kids, where it's like we've got pumps that still take magstripe. It's like, hey, you need gas for your car, $50, and you can get 200 on this card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's a really good point. That's a really good point. I think like it really is the best way to pitch it to a prospective, customer as a security person is to say like, listen, this is going to impact your reputation with your clients way more than like if you were to actually get breached. Like if I go to get my free milkshake and I can't get my free milkshake, I am going to be upset. It's not necessarily that I care if my Chick-fil-A data got breached. It's just I don't get my milkshake. So I think it's like you have to think about that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, but then with credential stuffing on consumer accounts like this, I mean, like we, as the commercial security industry, we're not against. We'll always use a strong password, but then we send people out to go live their personal lives, and we're like, oh well, I don't care anymore. And I'm starting to think we need to actually be like John was saying. We need to be scanning these passwords and resetting them to an extent if they're not secure, if we found them in breaches, because we need to be teaching consumers that they need to start taking security seriously outside of work, because otherwise it's just a face that you put on when you walk into work.
I mean, I don't think it's on the consumers to secure their stuff. I think it's on the customers to secure their consumers' data. And basically that means, for in this case, don't have anyone set up the credential at all. Don't use a credential and don't know
absolutely.
what I mean?
Absolutely, it's on the company to do some security stuff that way too. But we need to be teaching consumers to have the security mindset at all times, not just when you're at work.
I agree.
Haven't we been trying to do that for years though, and people still aren't listening?
Okay, so this is the Dave Attell argument, and Mike makes a good point, right? Dave Attell made a comment a number of years ago: if user awareness training was ever going to work, it would have worked. He's like, why are you spending hundreds of thousands of dollars? And that's a valid point. But I think that you quickly come back to, if we judge everything in security based on its efficacy, and if it has failures, then it's not worth it, then nothing is worth it in computer security.
Yes, that is true.
It's talking about OAuth, talking about getting rid of passwords, talking about, trying to train your users. Some companies literally say the password that you're using is breached in another data breach somewhere else, and you have to change it immediately. That's a bit draconian and brings up all kinds of other interesting questions. But I do think that the user awareness has to be a component. Even though it has a flawed percentage rate of success and failure, it's not about finding a solution. It's about constantly putting forth and pushing a number of solutions simultaneously.
Yes.
But the question then comes back to, what the hell is Chick-fil-A going to do? It's like, I learned everything I need to know about computer security from Chick-fil-A. It's like,
right?
That's a problem.
I'm just thinking we can make some stances of we can increase minimum password links. Like we shouldn't be requiring
no password,
8 password. Well, or we're getting off of that. But right now,
trust me. Just trust me. Passwords.
I agree with you, but have you been trying to talk to your family members and say, hey, you should go get a FIDO2 security key, and they're like, why the hell would I do that?
No.
I try to talk to my friends and family members about a lot of this stuff. They never listen, and the second that one of them gets breached, it's, Mike, why did I get breached?
Right.
Yeah,
did
you
listen to what I warned you?
You look at their history, and it's like, oh, God. So can we talk about your browser history and why you got breached? Because I think the answer's in there somewhere.
So, Bronwyn, what were you going to say? Sorry. I'm watching you slowly try to say something again and again.
Oh, here she comes. Yeah.
There's another factor, and this is something that I have said over and over and over again, is that as long as security is difficult to achieve, I mean, MFA, I have 1, 2, 3 different password managers for different organizations and different personas. Yeah, no kidding. And
Only
trying
3,
to
wow.
switch over-
Yeah, I have at least 16.
Oh, 3. Well, I retired one of them, so it's no longer in the count. The thing that drives me, though, is people are never, ever, ever going to implement good security practices as long as it's inconvenient and difficult. Now, to prove my point, seatbelts. Seatbelts used to be not required, and not even standardized. And then one guy, I think at Volvo, he invented the 3-point belt, and it was easy to apply. It was Volvo shared the designs with all other car manufacturers that were around at the time, and it became universal. And then, of course, you got governments coming in and requiring seatbelts. But until it was convenient, until it was easy, and let's take it back even further. Again, sticking with the car model, driving a car at all used to be horrendously difficult when they were first invented. They were really hard to crank up
and dangerous.
They were very difficult and dangerous, and that's why you had people that were the equivalent of modern makers. Only people who were into doing the mechanics had these horseless carriages. And then the steering became more consistent. Instead of having either levers or a yoke or something else, it evolved into the steering wheel. Now, I mean, if you compare cars 100 years ago versus today, you don't even need a key to get in. Now, that's a whole other security.
Which I hate, but I'm old.
I want to crank my car. No, yeah.
A hand crank.
Oh,
on
that's
the
it.
At no
front.
point did I ever look at a key and be like, this is incredibly inconvenient. I wish somebody would invent something with batteries that go dead instead.
Yeah, I mean, Bronwyn's point is yes, it's a great point. You can't be like, oh, well, you have to choose a secure password. That's not good enough. It's just not like people in the chat have been blowing up like prevent account takeovers, it goes back to the whole tech debt thing. If you're listening to this, Mr. CSO, listen, your tech debt will come back to bite you, and it will hurt your consumers more than it will hurt you. Like, if Chick-fil-A probably wasn't like, oh yeah, we're trying to invest a ton of money in our milkshake rewards system or whatever, but like
security,
so good,
right? For security reasons, like of course this wasn't a priority, but here's a case study in why you should, if you have this immense tech debt. Oh yeah, the system doesn't support 12 character passwords or anything above that. It doesn't support special characters or whatever your tech debt is. It's just like the Southwest thing. It's all fine until the music stops. And then your whole loyalty program goes bye-bye because it was all stolen by attackers.
But let's look at some companies that have implemented security, I think, relatively well, right? And they have a vested interest in making sure that their accounts stay secure and their customers' accounts and their data stays secure. And the example that I keep coming back to is Steam. My kids all play video games constantly through Steam. And if I try to log in on a new device, I've got to put in a password, and then it sends me an email, just like you were talking about, Corey. It's like, hey, you're trying to log in from a new device we haven't seen before. Go check your email and enter in a new code. And I don't feel like that's onerous, right? It's clearly not, because millions of people are playing video games to that platform, and that's where they purchase everything, and they're putting a lot of trust in that platform. Now that I've talked about them, they're going to get hacked in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, or like Gmail or Google, right? Yeah. Google does the same thing. Yeah.
But I think it's what I'm getting at, and this kind of goes back to Noah's thing, is and what Bronwyn said. Noah's absolutely right. We have to start making these changes, and there's companies that are leading the way. Bronwyn's also right that it has to be relatively easy to actually implement. But I see that there's companies that are they're successful, they're doing good, they're making money, and they're doing it, I think, as well as they possibly can without pissing off their customer base.
I think the hard hardest thing in all of this, because as you said, there are companies that are doing it right, and a lot of banks have been going down this path. The amount of multi-factor authentication or push the second authentication and let you know that somebody's logging in is out there. But most people don't look at a situation like a card from a loyalty card from Chick-fil-A as some sort of major issue.
Chick-fil-A, huh?
What?
All right.
I like it, dude. I like
You
it.
can't
so
you can't
much.
just slip in a Chick-fil-A. I'm sorry, you
keep
can't
going.
just slip in a Chick-fil-A. No one. Okay,
The other
anyway.
question I've really got about this, and I guess time will tell, is how many of these hacked consumer accounts that they had, are any of them actual employees, corporate employees, that are reusing their passwords that's going to lead to a further on breach?
We'll find out. If you were the CISO of Chick-fil-A, you would be-
Now
you
on,
would be
we
doing
have
it.
set the bar.
He owns it.
Oh,
But I want to get to the Krebs article though. I think we could talk about Chick-fil-A and we could eat Chick-fil-A all day long.
I
but
had it today. It was great.
the Equifax, I think it was Equifax again.
Experian.
Which one was it? It was the Brian Krebs
Experian.
article.
Yeah,
Experian.
Experian, yeah.
Sorry, they all take turns. This
Yes.
one was crazy because this is like web exploitation 101.
Yep.
So what happens is you go in and you get like, what is it? Your actual credit report.com. You put in some basic information about somebody, which is relatively easy to get. And then it takes you to Experian, and then Experian asks some additional questions.
Yes, like
But if you
your
scroll
credit card
down,
number, but you
if
got to avoid
just
that.
modify the URL. Keep going, it's down there. But if you just modify it right there. So whenever you're filling out the questionnaire, it's the URL is ACROOW, and if you just change that to ACR report, bam, it takes you straight into the report.
wow.
Wow.
That's an IDOR. Is that like an IDOR? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
I mean that's bad. Like this is like what web app testers
Yes.
like lose
live
sleep over.
for. Yes.
They both dream of it, and they're terrified that they tested this app and forgot to check
Yes.
this.
Here's the
how do
crazy
you
part.
check
Do you
this?
think someone tested this? Do you think someone tested it and were like, yeah, dude, it looks great. I saw those questions. I didn't know any of them, so I had to bail.
They probably did, and then they reported as a medium severity finding, and then the client was like,
I don't think it's medium. I don't think it is.
I think it's a low. I mean, they'd have to know to change the URL. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, they're like, I don't think that there's any examples. I was looking at the OWASP top 10, and I don't think it falls into any of those. And then I went to CISA, and there's no direct CISA reports that attackers are actively exploiting it. I think it's a lower information.
Also, no one knows how to look at the source code. Just saying.
Yeah,
Right.
Found
like,
out-
the
found out
source
Found's
code
got it.
from like 2004, and they're just wrapping it with.
Well, and
More
if you live in
Angular.
Missouri, it's illegal to look at the source code. So
Oh yeah, that's right.
Ah.
File now found's got it. It's all okay. We're all just getting another year of free credit monitoring.
Oh my God.
From the
At this
same
point, I'm-
people. From the same people.
I already got my report by changing the URL.
I know.
That's
I
neat.
don't
I
need
got
credit
your
monitoring.
report by changing the URL.
I don't need credit monitoring. If you go to the
can't
app and
even
you change
get
your
to
report.
them to freeze your account. They say, well, go ahead and freeze your. You can't even get through to them because the tools they set up to freeze your accounts don't even freaking work. But
You-
they can give away
Experian,
my-
you done pissed off Bronwyn.
Yeah.
She's coming.
I got Corey's report because I just used his social as his password. Yeah,
Oh well, that's already in. That's already in like 15 data breaches. So
I
whatever.
know. They're
Already.
everything. Everything.
Yeah, that's fine.
Now I got a question, and not just for the people that are on here, but for anybody that's listening. Every time there's a breach like this or an attack like this, do you go through your email at work and be like, "Were they ever a customer of ours?"
Oh, did I do that report? I didn't do it.
The
Nope,
answer
not
is
me.
you should, and that's like the whole LastPass thing. It's like, who did their pen test? Anyone want to come forward? No. Okay.
Anyone?
Like-
Actually, it was. Didn't they? I thought we talked about this already. The company that did their SOC 2 Type 2.
Yeah, we did.
We
More
did,
than
but that
likely
wasn't. I
was
assume that wasn't their real pen test. That was probably.
I'm
just
assuming it's the same company.
They
Oh,
probably
you
got
think? Maybe
some law
They got a
change, so they
bundle
don't have to do
package.
pen test.
they got some law change.
So my favorite story, kind of in this vein, is we had a customer who will go unnamed that did get breached, and I totally knew that they were a customer of ours. Freaked out. I pulled down the report and I looked at the report, and sure enough, there was a critical vulnerability that we identified that was the breach vulnerability.
Yes.
and they didn't fix it. It was like 6 months
yeah.
later. They
That's a
still
good
called
point.
us up, and they're like, "Hey, you guys did a pen test of this, and we just got breached." And I was like, "Oh my God, it's right here. It's the
You
critical."
already had the email in drafts. You already had typed it out.
Dude, I had the PowerPoint. You know, for me, it's PowerPoint. I had the
Oh, okay.
PowerPoint written and ready to go. And they were just like, "Well, thank you very much for letting us know."
The title is
Could
just
have,
why
could have been a little
yeah.
bit firmer about this vulnerability. I'm like,
Firmer? What did you want me to do?
critical.
Highlight it? and,
It doesn't
send
go
out?
higher than that.
It doesn't go higher than
Bold.
critical.
You need more exclamation points.
Yeah.
Ultra
more exclamation.
Octarine blue critical? How do you go?
How did you guys? How did you guys
What
get
you should have
Flash
used.
in your Word documents?
Yeah, you should have used Flash, and then you could have like
Mm.
animated.
No, that's
Could've
vulnerable. What are you
animated
talking about? No,
spinning
no.
around.
What for this April 1st April Fool's report that we're talking about making? I think we need some ratings above critical, like maybe uber critical, super critical, black hole. I don't know.
Plaid. We're gonna go plaid.
Critical.
The event horizon. Oh,
Yeah.
Event horizon.
We can just do it like I don't know, but yeah, it's kind of funny. But
It's the
Ooh.
Twinkie level. Like, what do you mean Twinkie? Well, imagine a Twinkie the size of Manhattan simultaneously expanding at the speed of light. That sounds bad. Is that bad, Ray? Yes, that's bad.
Not ideal.
so okay, multiple people have asked about it, so I think we should talk about it. What is it?
Here we go.
CircleCI.
Go ahead. I don't know much about this one, so
It's
Ralph, I assume somehow you're using it because it's CI. So why don't you
Yeah,
explain?
I've been using it since I was born, and it's great. No, so it's a continuous integration platform. And
that's not bad at all.
Yeah, no. And
Rotate any secrets stored in CircleCI.
yes. So they got breached, and obviously there's secrets inside of continuous integration. That's kind of how it works. And so rotate all your secrets. If you're using any CI platform, you should have secrets that expire anyways. Within a certain amount of time, you should you should implement secret rotation inside of your pipelines, right?
But if
So
I give it the AWS root account, it's so much more convenient.
you know, Amazon now will send you it has like a little security checklist, and it goes, if you're using a root API key, it's like, hey, this is bad. You do know this, right? Like
That's because they've given out refunds to a bunch of people that got crypto miners on their accounts.
Yes. They're tired of those $30,000, 2 days.
They're like, we want to keep this money, not refund it. So yeah, I mean, this is GitHub OAuth tokens. This is a lot. I mean, just imagine secrets for anyone that doesn't know exactly what we're talking about. When they say secrets, they're talking about basically API keys for anything you'd need for CI/CD. So, if you're building code, you need keys to GitHub, keys to GitLab, your internal repos. You could have notifications for like your Teams or your Slack or whatever. There can be a wide variety of different secrets in this tool. How did the actual breach happen?
I'm literally looking. All I'm seeing is like security update after security update.
They're
about
really
how,
helping
So
you.
my thing about secrets is I've talked to a number of companies and they love the idea of secrets because they look at it as not passwords and they don't ever have to rotate them.
That's actually not what that means at all.
No.
It's the literal opposite.
I get that. I get that. But they're totally treating it not that way. It's like,
Oh,
we
yeah.
just hard code this right in our code, right?
Right? We hard
That would
code
be
it now.
bad. Imagine a Twinkie. No, I don't.
Imagine a Twinkie in your database. That's what this is.
Yes.
Imagine a ding dong. Wait, what, John? I don't. What? Are you hungry?
Oh, I'm starving. Actually,
Yeah.
It's Monday. Like,
Okay.
dude, you'll find out here shortly.
I
but
know.
yeah, Mondays are hell days. It's just
So,
like, what
okay.
you like wall-to-wall meetings from like 9 until now. So
Yeah, we're really. Does anyone have the down low on how they were actually breached? It just says they were investigating an incident. They haven't. I don't see any specifics in here. So
yeah.
Yeah. No. Oh, they were like, we're confident there's been no one in our systems, but out of an abundance of caution.
yeah, I mean, when someone says security
SC
incident,
Magazine says it was a third party that allowed it to happen.
It was a third party that didn't rotate their secrets.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the secrets company, the CI/CD company, had secrets hard coded into another company that got breached?
Yeah.
Oh God, that reminds me. Do you guys remember the Bit9 breach from years ago?
Vaguely.
So Bit9 was compromised via, I think it was a Windows 2003 server that was exposed to the direct internet,
Oh,
and it
that-
wasn't running Bit9. And Bit9 eventually merged with Carbon Black, but it's like Yeah, that's how that one went down.
I think Carbon Black got bought by VMware, so it's
Now it's Bit9, Trend Micro, Carbon Black, VMware. I don't know what it is.
protection.
Cylance is now under. No, Cylance is BlackBerry. Never mind.
They're just renaming everything to Windows Defender.
Yeah.
Everyone is. It's all the Windows Defender. Always has been.
Speaking of event horizons, Ian, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and now you're part of Microsoft. Enjoy.
That's right.
Could be worse. Could have been the Cisco black hole over there.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so we don't know what happened with the breach, and rotate all your keys. All right, cool.
Five
That's gonna
Guys
be
was also
like
breached.
last
What is it
time.
with the fast food? Are hackers just hungry this month? Is
Yeah.
this because of
I
inflation
said, yeah,
somehow
Five Guys
because they
was
can't
breached.
afford food?
Oh, and the
I think
last
so.
breach was the KLM, Air France-KLM. You know what? Guess what it was? It was a loyalty rewards program as well, right?
Oh my God.
Yes, it's always those loyalty programs. Because guess what? They have horrible security on the loyalty programs because they're not very loyal to their customers. I don't know.
I will say, like, anecdotally, so I recently, I think it was last year, a couple years ago, Marriott got breached. And like they had everyone roll their creds. So like it had been years since, because of COVID, I didn't travel, but I started traveling again, and I was booking a hotel, and I had to rotate my creds and everything for Marriott. Their security is like insane. They're like, oh, you have to set up MFA. They have TOTPs now. They have all this stuff. It's like, wow, they really came up. They went from zero security on loyalty accounts, and now it's like, we've emailed you a code, a new login to your Marriott account. I'm like, dude, what? Like, this is a complete, it's good. It's like, the needle doesn't move until all of our money's gone.
People care about their Marriott rewards. Seriously, I care.
Oh yeah,
I care about my United Sky Miles. If I were to log in, and I think I was up before this last Christmas, I think it was up to 1.7 million Sky Miles.
Oh,
and if they were all gone,
whoa!
If they were
John,
gone,
your account's like a whale in the world.
All the expenses for BHIS go on a card. For United. So anytime I fly anywhere,
I got you. You're a million. Yeah, that's
nothing.
You really suck at being rich, John.
Yeah.
And the people in DoD that do stuff, they care about their Marriott rewards. Matters. That is.
I mean, the loyalty is, and it's funny that they're all being targeted because the loyalty really is a weak underspot, and a lot of times it ties into other things. Like, can you book flights from here? Can you transfer the points elsewhere, or can you just redeem them for send all the points it's pretty crazy.
And some of them, they have catalogs, right? Like, you can go in and you can
the Sky Mall.
You can buy computers and exercise equipment and TVs and all this stuff. And
hackers are like, I can drink for free on every flight I take out of Russia, which I will never take.
Well, yeah, because the chief form of travel out of Russia is off of a building now.
Out of a window.
Oh my God!
Quick stop.
You are flying Air KGB. Please, you are being upgraded to sidewalk class.
Air KGB.
That was
nice.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that when you took a drink.
You almost got the full spit take.
Thanks.
Oh,
Ian's finding out what sticky keys are.
So, Speaking of Russia, though, did you guys hear that Guardian's office closed because of the ransomware?
Oh,
a Guardian office is closed until 23rd of January. Totally not because we can't pay our rent, but definitely because of ransomware.
That works.
Yes, they were hit on December 20th, and the IT team is working on cleaning up the ransomware.
I like how they just predicted we're going to be down until January 23rd. That's an specific date way far in the future, right?
They just gave the staff time off.
It is oddly specific. And I guess this is so tough. I mean, can you think of any organization with a higher threat profile than a news organization? They make everyone mad. No matter how you slice it, everyone hates.
Hot take. The person who set that deadline, John, works a lot like me, where the harder you're like, I need a date, I'm going to just start picking days further away.
Yep. That's the tech. It's a systems administrator with no more F's to give. It's like, I need a hard date. I tell you what, a month.
It'll be done by December 31st next year.
The primary analysis indicates that foreign government involvement may be associated with this activity and that some data was taken.
Yeah, they're
have
like, we already
hired
tried to
it.
publish it all. Although I will say this is actually interesting because The Guardian is probably extra a target because they're famous for being like, hey, here's our PGP keys. Send us whatever like naughty, awful things
Naughty,
you can't like.
super
You know what I
naughty,
mean? Like that's how Snowden did it. That's
nation
how
on
like
nation.
that's how
Missed out
Panama
on Hunter
Papers and
Biden's
all that.
laptop.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I will say, like, I wonder, I guess I imagine that stuff just being on a journalist's laptop, and I doubt they have centralized IT, but maybe they've actually implemented, like, centralized IT. I don't know.
It's possible. You know, honestly, if you're going after companies for that type of stuff, I always come back to law firms. Like that's, you know, that's where, you know, I keep on thinking about what would people actually give a rip about if it was exposed publicly. And boy, if you can gain access to law firms, that would be.
Well, so that's very. Sorry, Ian, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I am always significantly surprised. Like when the Panama Papers happened, it was kind of like, oh, here's all these rich people doing rich people things that you knew was happening. It's like, well, yeah, we knew that was happening.
No one cared.
Look around, but I'm always surprised that the top law firms that don't handle like mega divorces, like between celebrities and whatnot, that those are not, because just the sheer clickability value to be able to sell that documentation
those
to
stories,
like, news organizations, forget it.
Well,
like, you
so
get paid
this
so fast.
That's so true, and this also ties in with the previous that Crystal Ball article. They were mentioning that the reason, and this is what Mike said as well, the reason why data breaches are less likely to be disclosed in 2023 is because how they do it now is they do it all under attorney-client privilege. They're like, oh, well, we can't tell you what was breached because it's an attorney-client privilege, and we can't, like, you can't find it. It's not, you know, it's not, you can't sue to get it. It's basically like it's gone forever, except for it's on a SharePoint in some law firm. So like that's now like who knows, that definitely makes them a target, a huge, you know.
So much so, Corey, that we're actually having conversations towards the end of this year or early next year about hiring a full-time attorney. Like if we start working incident gigs, like literally that attorney will become an attorney for our customers, and possibly even our pen test reports will all go under attorney-client privilege.
Yep.
Wow.
And the reason why is another firm. This is kind of a scary story, but another firm did a pen test for a company. The company got breached in a completely different area than what was actually pen test. One of those very, very, very large companies. So they pen tested over here. They got breached over here. When the lawyers showed up, they basically said, we want all documentation, all pen testing reports, absolutely everything. Then they went to the pen testing firm and straight up told the pen testing firm, we want a full dump of your entire email database, all of your emails, not just to our customer, but to every one of your customers. And we want to see every single report to every other one of your customers as well. Now, you would think a judge would look at that and be like, dude, that's stupid. Judges have no idea about this stuff, like at all. Like they have no idea what a pen test report is. They don't get the idea of sensitivity. And to a judge, that kind of makes sense. When you're like, oh yeah, well that makes sense. We should see if they do a good job at everything. No, we should get all of that. But no, that literally went through as a thing, and this firm had to fight it, I think, for like 2 years. And it was 6 figures to fight it in attorney's fees. Whereas if that firm like just basically had an attorney on staff that's like, sorry, all of our pen test reports are privileged attorney-client privilege information. You can't have it. It would have completely killed that entire thing simply because judges and attorneys understand that.
I was
wow, that's horrible. I was gonna say, are you the imposter, John? I wanted you to say one of your key phrases that we use to make sure you're not the imposter, John, because you said we were gonna hire an attorney, and I was like, are you the real John or are you the imposter, John?
Squatch.
ChatGPT with a deep fake.
I was on an incident response for a company that I was on the team that was doing that. And what John's saying is absolutely correct, to the point where I was instructed by counsel that every single email that I send, that's right. Yeah. Make sure the attorneys that are part of that are CC'd, because then they can argue that whatever I send during that incident, even if it's like, hey, we're going to lunch, CCS.
Protected.
Yeah, we don't want to turn over anything.
I want to be that attorney. Like that would be such a great job.
John, I'm sure to practice law in South Dakota can't be that hard. I mean,
You know, it's funny. Like attorneys in South Dakota, I think the average wage is like, $60,000 a year. Could totally get one and just be like, you sit over here and you receive emails. Do I do anything with them? No.
Nope.
you've probably already hired an attorney and you just don't know it because they
You
What
don't
is
even
my
know.
purpose? What is my purpose? You receive CC'd emails. Oh God.
Yeah, I'm sure like someone can pass the bar. Someone could do it. Ian could do it apparently.
Yeah,
I'll
we've
do it.
got it. We're probably going to make it happen. And I've got a friend who's an attorney who's really, really, really good, but he's got like a job. I don't know.
Oh
Yeah,
God,
those
the
guys.
worst.
If you look at the emails, you're fired.
Put an email that just says from John Strand, you're fired. If they ever read it, then it automatically.
Self-fulfilling email.
You broke the one rule. You only had one rule of this job.
I scrolled back to the first message, John, and I saw it. What do I do?
Pack your stuff.
Excuse me. Sorry, your connection's getting bad. I'm sorry.
We fixed
All
the
right.
glitch.
All right, everybody, let's wrap it up. Hey, thank you so much for joining this week. It's still hard getting into the rhythm of 2023. Just kind of a weird.
It's an odd year.
Start. Yeah,
It is an odd year.
Too soon.
It is. It is 2023. Is an odd year. Thank you,
It's
Ian.
not here.
That's right.
So, all right, everybody, get out of here. We will see you tomorrow. I'm doing address-based layout randomization, and I have no idea what I'm going to do, whatsoever.
You're going to take the bar exam online.
I'm going
Live.
to take the bar exam online.
Online. This will be great.
We should
Hold on.
probably do that. I was actually thinking about picking a topic and going to that website that automatically generates your PowerPoint slides and having it generate the PowerPoint slides. So, Ian, we might get a
there
shot
you go.
at that slideshow.
That
roulette.
website is just Ian.
Yeah, just
No, I was showing them it earlier.
I think
Ian
it's
is the
gonna-
website.
I think
Right.
it's going to change. I think it's going to change our lives. But we've got to do something like you add the phrase and then add "in my pants" at the end, just to throw it off. Like if you're like, I want you to talk about ARP cache poisoning in my pants and see how it handles those curveballs. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Bring up the crooked hand.
The finger of death.